how do faith and leadership coexist in your life?
Yes, so faith and leadership coexist in a way that I can't have faith without leadership, and I can't have leadership without faith.
Modern leadership is missing today.
So, what I believe that modern leadership is missing today is collaboration. I believe that many feel divided, that they have their own vision.
How can women pursue ambition, leadership, and financial success without losing themselves or disconnecting from their purpose?
For a woman, as myself, one thing that has kept me centered and focused is prayer. Prayer, 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 prayer. Prayer has literally been the thing that literally holds me up and keeps me, especially during times of transition and when God is raising up a man to be a world changer.
The future of J Ministries International, what impact do you hope it will have on the future generations?
So the impact that I want Cheyenne Ministries International to have is that we build houses for women all across the world.
So, if history were writing a chapter about your life 20 years from now, what would you hope people say Cheyenne Upson stood for?
If history was writing a chapter of my life 20 years from now, I would want it to say that Cheyenne Upson made a difference.
What happens when life breaks your plans but reveals your purpose? Today's guest knows that journey better than most of us. She once dreamt of becoming a leader in the corporate world, climbing the ladder of success at Fortune 500 companies. But a season of profound loss, heartbreak, and uncertainty changed everything. Instead of allowing pain to define her, she transformed it into purpose, faith into action, and adversity into a movement that is now impacting women across the globe. She's a 5-time author, international speaker, philanthropist mentor, and the founder of Shea Ministries International, a platform dedicated to empowering women through leadership, personal growth, financial independence, and unwavering faith. In this deeply inspiring conversation, we explore resilience, divine timing, leadership, overcoming grief, and what it truly means to create a legacy that outlives you. So, whether you are navigating a difficult season, searching for your purpose, or looking for the courage to become who you are meant to be, this episode is for you. Please join me in welcoming the remarkable Cheyenne Upson. So, before the ministry, the leadership, and the global impact, who was the young Cheyenne Upson? What experiences shaped the woman we see today?
Wow, that's a great question. So, before the ministry, before the leadership, Cheyenne Upson was just a girl who had a dream. I was in corporate America for many years before I stepped into the role of leadership and multiple ministries. I wore many hats in corporate America, from management to banking to just anything you can think of that was Cheyenne. Before the ministries came, before I was entrusted with, global impact.
That's great. So, many people see your success today, but what was that one season that tested your faith, resilience, and sense of purpose the most, and what did it teach you?
That is a great question. So, the one season that really tested my faith was the passing of my ex-fiance. I believe that that was one of the most devastating seasons of my life, but it was also the season that shaped who I am today. That season taught me that never to give up in the middle, because in that time, or at that time, I was literally at a crossroad. I was just transitioning out of corporate America, and then I knew that God was calling me into ministry and having global impact. I believe that that season really shaped who Cheyenne is today. That when we go through really trying seasons and times of our lives, it's at that moment that God really tests you to see if you're able to handle the more. I didn't know that God was shaping me to have global impact. I had no idea, because that wasn't the plan that I had for my life. Okay. I wanted to stay in corporate America. I was very comfortable. But that season taught me that man may plan, but it is always God's plans that will prevail. During that season, it taught me to really lean on God, for my next step, for my next season, and to really depend on Him and His voice to what lie or what lies ahead of me during that time. It taught me patience, it taught me resilience, and it taught me to really trust in Him during a time and a season of trying times.
I can understand what it must have been to, go through and still stand strong and fight all that is coming in front of you. So, for those who haven't read Ashes to Richness, what inspired you to write it? And what message do you hope that the readers take away from it?
Yes. So, believe it or not, Ashes to Richness in the Spirit was literally my very first book that I wrote, or I would say gave birth to. And that book is really diving into the beginnings of Cheyenne's life, with a little twist when my ex fiance was alive, but he was going through sickness. And that book is really diving into what it means to be hopeful, what it means to have faith in trying seasons and times. Book really focuses in on my life, my testimony, being the youngest out of five children, having both parents, growing up in a household that, wasn't ideal. It wasn't ideal, but it birthed so much in me. With that book, I would hope that readers would understand that seasons and times of trying is just the beginning of how God wants to use your story. I didn't know that that book would be able to touch so many people's lives just off of me giving my own story of how Cheyenne even came about. you know, that book really focuses in on healing, you know, um, perseverance, sticking beside somebody, during the most trying times of their life, and being a voice for them and being a light in the midst of the darkness.
That's truly inspiring, I must say. So, you openly integrate faith with leadership and business throughout. In a world that often separates spirituality from success, how do faith and leadership coexist in your life?
Yes, so faith and leadership coexist in a way that I can't have faith without leadership, and I can't have leadership without faith. Faith is literally the epitome of who I am, coupled with leadership. I believe that when you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can literally speak to any mountain and it will be removed. With leadership, you need tenacity, you need a good head on your shoulders to be able to lead people. Leadership is something that is very important, especially in our modern world that we live in. Being a leader, being someone that others can look up to, but also being bold about your faith. Faith is very important to me because it shaped who I am as a woman, as a leader, as one that has global impact. Without faith, Cheyenne would not be here. Without faith, Shay Ministries would not be here. And without faith, I wouldn't be the woman that I am today. Faith is literally the glue that brings everything together. Without faith, you can't do anything. But with faith, you can literally speak to anything. Faith is an action. Faith is the epitome of who someone is. It's their belief system. And with leadership is what people see behind closed doors, but also what people see in the front, in the spotlight. So faith and leadership literally goes hand in hand. You can't have one without the other.
Definitely, I agree with it. We have to have that, like faith acts as a strength, maybe, to lead everything with power. And that brings me to the next question. What do you believe is the biggest lie a woman have been, they have been taught about themselves, and how can they actually reclaim their confidence and that authentic voice within themselves?
Yes. So the biggest lie that I believe women have believed about themselves is that there is a glass ceiling to their potential, to their worth, to their reach, that there is a glass ceiling and that they can only go but so far and they hit the glass ceiling. But I believe that there is no glass ceilings when it comes to a woman's worth, when it comes to her destiny, when it comes to her reach, when it comes to her impact. There is no glass ceiling. And that is something that I literally had to walk out. With so many stereotypes on women, especially women of power and of influence and of impact. There's so many stereotypes on us from outsiders. Men, they say it's a man's world. There's no room for women. But if I can challenge that idea, there is room for women. I am someone that broke through stereotypes against me, especially as a woman who is in ministry, as a woman who is being used. I had to break through a lot of stereotypes that were placed against me, or placed, for me not to be able to accomplish or be able to have impact. As a woman, I believe that it's very important to not allow stereotypes to limit you and to limit your ability to reach for the stars. The same ability that God has given men, women have the same ability as well. Just as men have a voice, women have a voice as well to use.
That was very powerful what you said. And I think, as someone like you mentioned, who is a young Cheyenne who has led through and led so many things wonderfully. So, as someone who has led teams, ministries, communities, and whatnot, what do you think modern leadership is missing today?
Yes, so that is a good question, Pooja. So, what I believe that modern leadership is missing today is collaboration. I believe that many feel divided, that they have their own vision, they have their own plans, they have their own ideals, but we're so divided in modern leadership today that we can't come together and join hands. And if you really think about it, everyone is kind of doing the same thing, but they just have their own title, I would say, but it's all the same thing. We're all helping the world to become a better place, in some way, shape, or form, whether it's through serving underserved communities with food or helping the homeless. We're all doing something to better society. And I believe that modern leadership is missing that collaboration where it's like that crab in the bucket mentality, where it's like someone has to get there first, or if you try to get there first, they want to pull you down. We're all trying to reach a certain goal, we're all trying to leave legacy. And I believe that modern leadership needs to collaborate. My strengths may not be someone else's strengths. My weaknesses may not be someone else's weaknesses, but my strengths can help someone else. Their strengths can help me with my ministry. Where I'm weak, they may be strong, So coming together and putting aside the differences. Modern leadership is also missing just that connection. Everyone is competing against each other. Who can be better? Who can do more? Who can do this? But it's like when we all come together to fulfill one specific goal. I believe that we can get things done faster and we can leave a lasting legacy instead of it being everybody separated, so much competition and division, where if we all can come together for just one goal, I believe that it'll make everything more efficient.
That was a really wonderful thought. Collaborating is so important because it kind of kills that unhealthy relationship and competition maybe we have in our minds, which may or may not be true in so many cases, but it is just delaying us to reach where we really are looking forward to reach, maybe. And that is something very true and very powerful that you said. How can women pursue ambition, leadership, and financial success without losing themselves or disconnecting from their purpose?
For a woman, as myself, one thing that has kept me centered and focused is prayer. Prayer, 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 prayer. Prayer has literally been the thing that literally holds me up and keeps me, especially during times of transition, and when God is raising up a man to be a world changer. Prayer is something that you cannot neglect, because with success comes pressure. And if you don't have prayer as the focal point, what the success does is it oppresses you. So what should have been your, you know, the what should have been the thing that allows you to elevate, it now becomes something that chokes you because you didn't allow God to build you in that secret place, build you in prayer, you know, and success is beautiful. Success is a beautiful thing, but you need structure and prayer. I don't only believe that prayer is the do all be all. It's not, I do believe that you still need structure, you know, you need strategy, you know, you need wisdom to handle success, because success comes with its own battles, believe it or not. Success comes with a lot of pressure on you. societal pressures, family pressures, background pressures. There's a lot of pressure that's on you. So when you have wisdom coupled with prayer, coupled with strategy, it keeps you at bay and you don't succumb, to the pressures of success. You rise above the pressures of what success may bring, and it doesn't stifle you. It doesn't choke you, if I can say. Being someone that is successful, I can say that it does come with its battles. It comes with its battles. I can't say that it's always been perfect. It's been a journey. And for a woman that wants to couple success with vision, success with global impact, structure, wisdom, practical solutions. It keeps you steady and it keeps you rooted and it keeps you grounded.
So, Shea Ministries International has expanded beyond the United States now. So, what has serving internationally taught you about leadership, faith, and humanity?
One thing that Shea Ministries being international has taught me is that we literally have it good over here in America. It's taught me to count my blessings. Not everybody can wake up and have a clean glass of water. Not everybody can just say, I want to take a hot shower. I want to have a hot meal. Not everybody has that. And with Shea Ministries being international, it really opened my eyes to what I was taking advantage of. The little things that I was taking advantage of, you know, um, and seeing how being in underserved communities, women don't have homes and they have kids, they have children that they have to take care of, and they don't have a roof over their heads. They're in the rain. You know, it taught me that I need to count my blessings more. I need to be more appreciative of what it is that I do have and not be so worried or complaining about the things that I don't have, but to be grateful for what God has given me. I see even with those who are in China, they're underground. They worship God underground. They don't have the liberty to just worship God freely. You know, there are a lot of countries that Shea Ministries has impacted that they don't have the opportunity to just share their faith freely. You know, it's a privilege and an honor for Shea Ministries to even be able to expand our reach, but to be grateful for where we are and the impact that we are making in different countries.
Said it very beautifully. So you often also speak about the divine timing and obedience. So how do you distinguish when God is opening a door for you and versus, he's asking you to be patient and he's asking you to wait for yours to be open. So what is the difference? How do you distinguish that?
Yes, that's a good question. So for me, I knew that my time was coming or my time had came because of the passing of my ex-fiance. So many people believe that when God is calling a man or a woman to make a difference in the world, it's going to be through pretty circumstances. Sometimes the way that God uses someone is through messy situations, you know. And so I knew that my season had came because of the testing that I went through with the passing of my ex-fiance. And you will know when it's the divine timing of the Lord And when you have to wait, is you'll feel peace. You will know that it's God's timing for you is when you feel peace. And then God begins to give you men. The word of God says that He gives you men. He opens doors for you, doors that you couldn't even open for yourself. He makes connections for you. Rather you doing it in your own strength, God is the one that opens the doors for you. And you will know when it's your time, when it's just so many opportunities. Like it's like literally it's like you just touch something and then it's like doors just begin to open and people and situations just favor you. People just want to be connected to you. They want to know about you. They want to know about your ministry. They want to know about what's going on in your life, what's new. And when you know it's a season of waiting is when those doors close. And one thing that I can say is that seasons of waiting is very important. Because if I can be honest with you, Pooja, I don't believe that I would have been able to handle everything that came with not waiting on the Lord and God's timing. There are many battles that come when you don't wait on God, when you don't wait on His timing, and a lot of things are pushed, and moved out of the way when you don't wait on God. If I would have had many opportunities that I have now, if I would have had it in years prior, I think that the weight of the assignments would have crushed me because I wasn't ready for it. I didn't build enough capacity for it yet. And during those waiting seasons, that is what God is doing, is building capacity. Because success, it makes people go crazy. Some people, it really can make you go crazy. And during those waiting seasons, God is fortifying you. He's healing your mind, He's healing all of these things so that when His time comes, you'll be able to handle the pressures. That pressure is gonna come whether it's God's timing or whether it's your timing. Pressures are gonna come. But when it's God's timing, He helps you with the pressures.
Definitely. So, what role do prayers and spiritual disciplines play in your leadership? And how do you stay spiritually healthy while carrying so much of great responsibility for others?
The role that prayer plays in my spiritual leadership is every day I'm praying. It's not a day that goes by that I'm not praying because prayer keeps me sane. Through everyday life, I'm hit with a lot of things, on a daily basis. And prayer is what literally roots me and grounds me. Prayer is like breath to me, every day, every second, I'm like, God, help me. God, what we gonna do today? I speak to him like he's a friend, you know, and with prayer, it literally saves me from a lot of things, prayer and peace. I believe that peace plays a vital part with prayer. I say if I don't feel peace about it, I know that that's not the direction that God wants me to go in. The word of God says that with prayer and supplication, you pray, and you pray some more until you get an answer. You don't stop praying. And prayer is literally my lifeline. That is how I hear God. I hear His voice. I hear Him say, Shay, this is what I want you to do. Shay, I don't want you to do this. This is not what I'm calling you to do in this season. This is not the right door that I want you to go through. You cannot have leadership without prayer. You need the both of them. Because when you're leading people, when you have people that are depending on you, you can't not pray. Lives are depending on you to have wisdom, to have insight, to have foresight. People are depending on you to make the right decision. You know, I don't make any decision without praying first. I have to pray because I like to include God in everything, that I do. And that goes along with my faith as well. My faith is what keeps me grounded, but prayer, I like to include God. I don't make decisions without Him telling me first.
That's incredibly powerful, I must say. So, when you think about the future of Che Ministries International, what impact do you hope it will have on the future generations?
Oh, that's a good one. So, the impact that I want Shea Ministries International to have is that we've built houses for women all across the world. Being someone who has experienced abuse, physical abuse, somewhere where they can lay their head at and they don't have to worry about their abuser coming after them. I see Shea Ministries International leaving a legacy. I believe that legacy is way more important than, many people think that leaving a legacy is leaving well. Leaving legacy is the impact that you make. That even when I'm gone, even when I've passed on, Shea Ministries is still thriving and it's helping women, in underserved communities. Women's empowerment is a huge passion for me. That's very important to me because I know what it feels like to not be empowered, and I want Shea Ministries to leave empowerment in every woman, whether she's in Haiti, whether she's in Africa, whether she's in India, women being empowered that they can do anything that they envision in their mind to do. Remember, I told you there are no glass ceilings, there's only a glass ceiling if you believe in your, but there is no glass ceilings. Your success is inevitable, and that is what I want to leave in women and in young girls, that your success is inevitable. And anything that you desire to do, you can do it. There's no limit. There's no limit. Anything you want to do, you can do it.
That's great. So, if history were writing a chapter about your life 20 years from now, what would you hope people say Cheyenne Upson stood for?
Oh, yes. So, if history was writing a chapter of my life 20 years from now, I would want it to say that Cheyenne Upson made a difference in women's lives across the world. She didn't allow setbacks, she didn't allow obstacles to stop her. She allowed her voice to make global impact. And Cheyenne Upson is now known all across the world, and my story is known across the world that there is a God that takes nobodies and make them somebody. Just like Joseph, he was a nobody, but God made him into somebody and made him a ruler over many things. That is what I want history to write about Shine. That though she was an outcast, though she was different, though she was the black sheep, she is making impact across the world and changing women's lives. That is what I want history to say 20 years from now.
That is indeed very deep. So, if God gave you a microphone that could reach every person on earth for just 60 seconds, what would you say?
I would say, I have made it, and you can make it too. Never allow your circumstances, your hurt, your past trauma, your family limitations to stop you from making an impact. Girl, make impact. Man, make impact. You are called to change nations. You are called, to change people's lives just off of your testimony. There is nothing that you can't do. Every talent and dream that God placed on the inside of you is for a purpose, and it's to change the world. Don't limit yourself and don't limit your ability to be a world changer. You got it on the inside of you. It just has to come out.
So, with this, we come to the rapid fire round, which is the end of the podcast. So, this rapid fire round, you will have to answer as quick as possible. You don't have much time to think over. And let's play it. So, one word that defines your leadership style.
Empowerment.
Great. A daily habit that keeps you spiritually grounded.
Prayer.
Faith or fear? Which voice wins most often in your life?
Faith.
One book everyone should read besides your own.
The Holy Bible.
What's one leadership lesson you learned the hard way?
Don't sleep on yourself. Don't muzzle your own voice, and don't muzzle your talents, your gifts, or your abilities.
A woman leader who inspires you the most.
Oprah Winfrey. I love that lady. Like, I love her. Oprah Winfrey is my girl.
What's next for Cheyenne Upson?
We are going global. We are going global. Shea Ministries International, Girl Make Impact, Serve God in our youth. We are going global. And our ministries will touch every nation in the world. Please, we are going global. Within the next few years, God will take us global.
Great. And one message every woman listening today needs to hear from you.
There are no glass ceilings, woman. Trust me, there are no glass ceilings. God has placed so many talents and gifts down on the inside of you. I said, I want to die empty. Every gift that God has given me, I want to be empty. I don't want to go to the grave with all the ideals, all of the talents that God has given me. Use all of the talents. Make an impact. You don't know whose life you will change by just giving your story. Somebody needs to hear your story because they can be on the brink of suicide. Use the power of your story to change a life. Your story is not finished, and God will use you greatly. I am an example and a testimony of how God can change someone's life and turn her into a global impact, a global voice, and God will do the same for you. You are made for global reach.
That's very empowering and impactful. So, with this, we come to the end of this very, very wonderful discussion I'm having with Chan. And this conversation was more than inspiring, it was deeply empowering. And your journey reminds us that leadership is not just about position or success. It's about impact, it's about authenticity, faith, and the courage to become fully who we are created to be. And thank you very much for sharing your wisdom and your heart and your vision with us today. And to everyone who is listening, if today's conversation speak to you, remember this, that you do not have to shrink yourself to fit into something, and you do not have to choose between purpose and prosperity, and you do not have to become someone else to build a meaningful legacy. So, this is your reminder of transformation begins the moment you believe you are already worthy of that love. Right, Cheyenne.
Thank you so much. It was truly a pleasure and an honor being with you. Despite everything, I truly loved this interview. It was an honor sitting here with you and sharing about it.
Thank you very much for sparing your time with us today.